do know that I love you. Walk around this town with your head all up in the sky, and I do know that I want you. Let's dance, let's shout, shake your body down to the ground. Let's dance, let's shout,
yeah.
Shake your body down to the ground. Let's dance,
yeah.
Let's shout,
woo.
Shake your body down to the ground. Let's dance,
woo.
Let's shout, woo. Shake your body down to the ground.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Mack Lessons Radio Show. I'm your host, Mr. Tariq Nasheed, broadcasting here in Flaw Scandalous, California. This is the shit right here, man. Wasn't this the jam? That's the shit. That is the jam right there. That's why they can't get Michael Jackson on no charges, man. You can't have anybody guilty who made some hot shit like this. You just can't. This is too hot to be guilty to. You can never be guilty ever. You can just enter this into evidence in court. That's how hot this song is. Hold on. You go to court, you be like, Your Honor, I know the evidence is overwhelming against my client, but I like to present this into evidence. You put this on the judge. You put this on the jury. Not guilty, goddammit. Not guilty. That shit is hot.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
They don't make hot shit like this no more. And on the same token, if you go to court with some whack shit, you just might be found guilty. If you go to court with some whack shit like, Your Honor, I like to place this into evidence.
Chocolate rain. Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Chocolate rain.
Guilty, goddammit. Guilty, goddammit, guilty. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? I'm glad to have everybody tuning back in. Just having a good time. Today's show is brought to you by the all-new Mack Lessons Radio.com. MackLessonsRadio.com is where you can go to hear all the podcasts. The site has been revamped. Now, a lot of people have been complaining that they haven't been able to download the show on iTunes. We're still trying to transfer all the people who subscribed over to the new site. But in the meantime, if you want to subscribe to iTunes, you can go to MackLessonsRadio.com and there's an icon. You just click that and you're signed in and you'll automatically get the shows. It's real simple. Real simple. You can subscribe by going to MackLessonsRadio.com, goddammit, and subscribing to the show there. Also, don't forget to check out MackLessons.com. That's where you can get the Mack Lessons DVD. Now, the Mack Lessons DVD will be in stores worldwide in October. I got a distribution deal with Universal, and it's going to be in stores all over the place in October. And I'm going to go on a promotional tour in the next few weeks, actually. And I'm going to be all over the place promoting the new DVD, well, the Mack Lessons DVD. And we're going to be doing a whole series of Mack Lessons DVDs. Pretty soon, we're going to start casting for Mack Lessons Part 2. So some of you cats who are close in L.A. and all you women who are close to the L.A. area, you want to get your act on, y'all need to give me a holla. Now, all my L.A. people, today is Monday night right now. Monday night, Tuesday morning. Later on this morning, Tuesday morning, I'm going to be on the Big Boy Morning Show on Power 106. Tuesday morning. Today, basically. So all my LA people, Tuesday, this morning, I will be on Big Boy's show on Power 106 at like 9 o'clock, and I'll be on there for the remainder of the show. I'll be co-hosting the show with them this morning. So don't forget to check that out, all my LA people. Now, today's show, I'm going to chop up some real good game. I'm not taking no calls on this show today. Today's show is straight game, like we did back in the old days. Now, this is the first week of August 2007, and the Mack Lessons Radio Show is a year old. We started doing the show in August of 2006. So this is the year anniversary. This isn't the official anniversary show. I'm thinking about doing an anniversary show later on this week, an official anniversary show. But we started doing the show of 2006, August, the first week of August. And we've been going strong ever since. 500,000 damn downloads. The show is popular. The show is the shit. And I'm glad that everybody tunes in. And I'm glad that everybody's supporting the show. I like to thank all you guys. And I read your emails. A lot of people send emails. And sometimes I can't respond back. But I don't be forgetting about you niggas. All right. On today's show, I'm going to be talking about how women perceive certain things as weakness in men. And what you can do to rectify this. So the basic topic is going to be men, 5 things that you do that will make you look weak. Now, a lot of guys, you do stuff and it makes you look weak and you don't know that it makes you look weak. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff like just blatant brown nosing or blatant simping. There's a lot of subtle shit that men do when interacting with women, and women might perceive that as weakness. They might not say it, and in most cases, they don't say it. So you really don't know what you're doing. You don't know whether you're doing wrong or right or whatever, but the woman's reaction is pretty adverse, or the woman's reaction to you is kind of standoffish from that point on. A lot of times women don't know that they look at you as being weak. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's covert, sometimes it's overt. So a lot of times they don't know. But the majority of the time they do know whether they look at you as weak or not. And fellas, I'm going to give you some tips on how to avoid that. Let me break some of this music down. That Michael Jackson makes me want to get up and start moonwalking in this bitch. So, one thing that guys do that women perceive as being weak, and I want some of you guys to write this down. This is going to be a good lesson today. Write some of this shit down. It's 5 things. Number 1, fellas, acting overly concerned about women. Many times women perceive that as being weak in a man. Like when you're checking up on a woman all the time, like, hey, how you doing? Are you fine? Are you okay? That type shit. You're trying to rectify her problems. You're trying to almost be a Captain Save-A-Ho. But you're just really overly concerned about her well-being. Now, I know men are taught to be that way, but women, in many cases, they perceive that as being weak. Women are kind of gravitated towards guys who kind of don't give a shit about them. Your attitude has to be like whatever towards women sometimes. You have to be more of a challenge. If you're too accommodating, if you're too concerned about her needs or her well-being, hey, I was just calling to see if you wanted something to eat. I'm going to the store. Did you want something? That type shit, they look at that as weak. So in some cases, you have to balance it out. You have to be somewhat sensitive, but you have to be a little bit standoffish. You have to be somewhat like an I don't give a fuck type of vibe. You have to have somewhat of an I don't give a fuck type of vibe. You feel me? So do not be overly concerned. It's cool to be concerned to a degree, but do not be overly concerned about a female's needs and her well-being, because they will look at that as weakness. Now, number 2, being lured in and engaging into petty arguments with a woman. Fellas, if a woman is bickering and arguing and complaining about some bullshit, something real petty, and you are actually engaging her in an argument or a conversation, a lot of times they look at that as weak. Many cases they look at that as weak because they know when they're being petty or when they're full of shit. You have to just disengage yourself in that altogether. When you get into a conversation about some bullshit or an argument about some bullshit and it's just going on and on and on and you don't put a stop to it, she look at you as like, why is this nigga arguing with me? Women think like this. she's looking at you as like, why is this dude arguing with me about this petty bullshit? She'll keep on arguing until the cows come home. But deep down, she expects you to be like, shut the fuck up. Because that's what she really wants. She wants you to say shut the fuck up and bring closure to it. So fellas, don't do that. If a woman is trying to lure you into a petty argument or disagreement or whatever, don't even take the bait. Because it's not about closure. A lot of women just get into little petty arguments just to get feelings off of her chest. And if she wants to get feelings off her chest, tell her go call her mama or somebody. Go call her girlfriend. Don't bring that shit to you. You're watching the game. You got better things to do. It's good to communicate. Now, don't get me wrong. It's always good to communicate. But when it's petty over some nothing, some nonsense with no logic, with no rhyme or reason, stop that. Just say, hey, look, you're not really talking about nothing. Holler at me when you're talking about something. Because you ain't making no sense. I got shit to do. You feel me, fellas? And number 3. That brings us to number 3. This is an extension of number 2. Number 3, not checking women when they come at you sideways. You have to check women when they come at you sideways with some bullshit. You feel me? A lot of times women will step to you, and I talked about this before, putting women in check. A lot of times women will do things just to push you or push your buttons and test you. When women do that, you have to check them immediately. Now, I noticed that a lot of women, especially, and this is almost a digression, but there are a lot of women who are non-dimes who are always trying to push people's buttons. You check them from the gate. I have a zero tolerance for that, me personally. If I'm dealing with a woman and she's real fine and she does stuff to kind of test me, I can kind of understand that. Not that I will engage in it, but I can understand that she's going to try to test me because she's used to guys kissing her ass because she's fine. So a lot of women who are fine, they're spoiled and they get away with a lot of shit. So they want to test guys to see how much they can get away with them so they can inflict boundaries on them. But now I see a lot of women who aren't even dimes talking real slick out their mouths, talking real greasy, and I'm like, hell no. If you're not a dime, you got to come with 120% cooperation. I have a zero tolerance level for any kind of bullshit from any kind of bullshit from a woman who's not a dime. And you got to let women know that you're not the one to be tested at all. You got to have that kind of vibe, and you have to establish that early on. I go out all the time and I see guys with these girls, and the girls are talking to them real crazy and fucked up, and the guys are just basically accepting it. Women will never respect you if you let that happen. So you have to check women. Women will purposely say some greasy, slick shit out of their mouths to you, and if you don't check them, they'll look at you as being weak. They want you to say, hey, hold on, who you talking to? They want you to say that. They want you to check them. They want you to put them in their place. And when you don't, when they say something real slick and you let it slide, in the back of her mind, she's like, damn, this nigga's a punk. I can punk this nigga. And it's all downhill from there. So early on in the relationship or the interaction with a woman, you gotta check them. Now, a lot of guys, such as myself, I don't even want to be tested. So I let them know I'm not the dude to be tested. If I'm out with a woman, and we have a lot of women out here like this lately, in this day and age, because we have so many simp-ass dudes that enable this type of behavior from women. If I'm out with a woman and she's saying little smart-ass remarks, you know how they do, especially a lot of the young ones. You're out with them and they just say some real slick, smart shit. I'm like, hold on. Look, I'm not one of these little old niggas that you grew up with. You better check yourself. Because if I have to check you, I will drop your ass off and leave you here in front of Applebee's or wherever the fuck we are. I'm not the dude to be tested. I don't play like that. Take that shit back to the hood where you grew up at, but don't come at me with that. You check yourself. Because when I start checking, it's a wrap. And that's for the advanced players out there. I have a 0 tolerance level for any kind of bullshit, any kind of greasy remarks, none of that. Fellas, and you got to adopt the same kind of mentality. 0. If a woman says anything smart to you, if a woman says something to me and her tone is fucked up, I'll check her on her tone. I'm like, I don't like the way you said that. It seemed sarcastic. I'll let you know if you're saying some real fucked up shit to me, because we can stop this shit now when you're going about your business. You have to have that kind of mentality, fellas. 0 tolerance. You have to check them. And a lot of people might look at that as being chauvinistic, but that's just on some grown man shit. Fellas, y'all got to be on some grown man shit. We got too many grown men on some little boy shit. I mean, you look at especially in our community, in the black community, but even in the white community too. In our community, everybody's on some little boy shit. Everybody dressing like little kids. You look at TV all day, niggas got on big t-shirts and sneakers and hats to the back. That's all you see. We don't promote manhood anymore. So little boy ass behavior is normal now. And niggas allow little boy shit to happen when they interact with women. These women be talking to you like you're a little boy. And that type of dynamic is un-Mackish. If you're going to be a Mac about yours, you got to be a grown man about yours and act like a grown-ass man and handle your business like a grown-ass man. And when you're dealing with these women, like, look, baby, I'm not your, do you have any kids? Well, bitch, I'm not one of them. You dig? You got to have that kind of vibe with them. Even though it may sound chauvinistic, fuck that. Be a man about the way you handle yours. Now that brings us to number 4 of ways that women look at you as being weak. Number 4, being too available. Fellas, if a woman calls you and flakes a lot, and I've been getting a lot of emails from guys telling me about women they're dealing with, and then the women, they want to go on a date with the woman and the woman is flaking out. I had a brother who emailed me the other day about this woman he was trying to get with, and she's flaked out on him a number of times. And every time she calls, she wants to hook up. And he's always very accommodating. He's always available, and that's strike 1. If a woman calls you up, like, hey, let's go somewhere, hey, let's do something, and you're like always available to go, they look at that as a sign of weakness. That looks like you have nothing better to do. And as a Mac, you always have better shit to do. As a Mac, you always put yourself in a position to appear busy, at least appear busy. You should be busy. You should be handling your business, but at least appear busy to the woman. Because if you seem too attainable, that's not a challenge. If a woman calls you up and every time she calls you, you're down to hook up, that's not a challenge. She knows she has you wrapped around her finger, so she could just get back with you when the other guys aren't available. You're like her little just in case nigga. She'll call you just in case all the other dudes she likes flaked out on her. So you're never accommodating to a woman all the time. You're never too available. Sometimes when women call you, say, hey, look, I'm about to hook up with my homegirl. Me and my homegirl, we about to go to Roscoe's. I'm about to go out to the club with a lady friend of mine. And let them know. Let them know you got other females on the team. See, a lot of fellas, when you meet women, you play the super single role. Like, oh, God, I ain't messing with nobody. I'm ultra single. I'm just sitting home waiting on you. You have that vibe. And that's a turnoff, fellas. That is a turnoff. Women like a little competition. They might not admit it. Women will never admit it, but they like the fact that a man is in demand. They like the fact that you have other women checking for you, or that you have access to other women. They like that. Women like competition. The more, the better. You don't have to make it seem like you're banging a whole bunch of women. You don't have to make it seem like you're an ultra player, but you have to give off the vibe that, hey, if you ain't available, I'm going to still be handling my business. I'm going to still be going out doing me, having a good time. I have quote-unquote female friends, because women, they have their little quote-unquote male friends. You got your female friends too. That's the kind of vibe that you want to project. I'm telling you, fellas, you have to show women that you have other options, that strength. And always and get you some dimes. Have you some female friends that's just real fine that you're cool with. Women like to see a dude with other attractive women because that brings your stock value up. I talk about that in my very first book, The Art of Mack, and I always said one of the rules is to keep some platonic female friends. I know it's very hard, fellas. You want to bang every woman you want to meet. You want to bang every woman you meet, but it's cool to keep a female platonic friend just to have around. She's your bait. She's going to bait in your other women. But women like to see a dude around attractive women. That makes you sexier. That's why Jay-Z is a sex symbol. The rapper Jay-Z is a sex symbol because he started fucking with Beyonce. That's when he became a sex symbol. You dig what I'm saying? So you got to have the same vibe. You hang around attractive women, no matter what you look like, you're going to become a sex symbol too. Like look, the rapper Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne started fucking with Trina, a couple of other nice looking chicks. Lil Wayne is a sex symbol. Lil Wayne is a sex symbol. I know a lot of young women who like, man, I like Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is my favorite rapper. A lot of women like the rapper Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne looks like a Jamaican roach. That man ain't hot, and I'm no homo, all right? No homo at all, but that little motherfucker looks funny, all right? But he got bad bitches, though. Because of the swagger. And you get a lot of attractive women around you, and that's going to help boost your confidence up. It gives you a little swagger. But the point is, do not be too accommodating. Do not be too available to women at all times. And finally, rule number 5, don't do too much too soon. That's another major mistake that a lot of guys do, and it makes you look weak in the eyes of women. Fellas, if you're dealing with a woman and you're rolling out the red carpet too soon, you're doing too much. You're doing too many extras on a first date, like coming to the door with chocolates and roses. That's romantic back in the day. Like back in the day when motherfuckers didn't have cars and telephones. You had to campaign real hard back in the day. You had to come up to the door. You had to ride your pony up to the bitch's house with a bucket of meat and some candy and flowers, because shit, you were probably hungrier than a motherfucker from all that walking and horseback. But you would show up to the door and you'd be like, hey, let's sit on the porch and eat these chocolates and drink some lemonade, and shit, I walk my ass back to the farm or whatever. But nowadays, man, excuse me, you don't have to do all that. When you meet a woman or when you first hook up with a woman, you don't have to come with gifts and presents and rolling out the red carpet. That makes you look a little desperate. That makes you look weak. Women say it's romantic. Women, no. It's not romantic. You do stuff like that for a woman that you're already cool with or a woman that you're already down with. If you're down with her, then you decide to do some little fly shit like that every now and then. That's cool in the game. But when you first meet them, you don't know them from a can of paint. She can be the biggest skanky slut monkey in the neighborhood. And you out here cupcaking with her ass. So you have to give her the impression like, hey, let me get to know you before I do anything special. That's the vibe and impression you want to give. I tell women that all the time. Like, when I'm at the club, and out here in LA, what happens is that if you're out at the club and you're talking to a girl, they have these people who sell flowers outside the club. They'll walk up to you, hey, you want to buy her flower? They'll put you on the spot, and they be punking these dudes into buying women flowers and shit. And a lot of these simp niggas be doing it because they don't want to look like they're dissing the woman. But there's a way to get out of that. Like when I'm out at the club and a woman is outside with me chatting it up and they come up to me with the roses, like, hey, you want to buy her a rose? And then the woman is looking at me like, what am I going to say? I'm like, look, let me get to know her first. I just met her. And that alleviates the whole shit right there. And the woman can't say anything negative because, shit, I don't know her. And I let her know, like, hey, I'm not, you cool, but I don't even know if I want to fuck with you like that yet. I'm getting to know you right now. And you can't argue with that, and you can't get offended with that. They can only respect that, and they respect that I stood my ground and I didn't allow myself to be manipulated. So that's the impression and that's the vibe that you have to have with women that you meet, especially on the first few dates. You have to give her the impression like, look, you cool, but we're going to keep it real simple for right now until I get to know you. Now, if I get to know you and you seem to be a cool chick, then we can upgrade it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Then we can take it to Red Lobster. You dig? But right now, we're going to fuck with this Krispy Kreme. Right now, we're going to fuck with this Sizzler buffet. Because I don't know you yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to appear cheap. Don't let women try to punk you into the whole cheap thing. Women, a lot of women will be like, oh, damn, you can't spend no money on me. Oh, I don't like no cheap man. Oh, I like to be spoiled. Fellas, if a woman ever says some corny shit like that, and I've heard it before, you check them hard. When women say some shit like, I'm used to being spoiled, 9 times out of 10, they're immature or they have a boyfriend when they say some shit like that. I can almost guarantee it. Either they live at home with their mama or they have a corny-ass boyfriend somewhere who ain't doing shit for them and they're trying to get you to be that sucker. And I know every fella has heard that before. A woman talking about, ooh, I like to be spoiled. How you like to be spoiled and your ass is living up here in Section 8 housing? And you talking about you like to be spoiled. And you sitting over here with this old raggedy ass outfit from Ross. Talking about you spoiled. And your weave hanging halfway off your fucking head. But you like to be spoiled. Toenail polish chipped up, looking like you've been doing Tybo on a damn tree. And you talking about you like to be spoiled. Get the fuck out of my face. That's the vibe that you have to have, fellas. Do not go for the okie doke. Don't go for the bullshit. Keep it PI to your DI. Anyway, everybody, that's been today's episode of the Mack Lessons Radio Show. Straight game, straight flowing from the survival scrolls, just like we used to do back in the day. Don't forget, all my LA people, check out Power 106 this morning. I'm going to be chopping up game like I always do on there. And don't forget to check out all the shows on MackLessonsRadio.com. And I will holler at you guys later on this week. Let me put this Michael Jackson back on, goddammit. Shit. Everybody get the fuck up.
Begging for the man ass. Begging for the man ass. Begging for the man ass.
To you, baby, but I do know that I love you better, I love you better, I love you better.